Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Ho. If you've been thinking that retirement is just slowing down, let me offer you something different. Today, I want to challenge the big assumption that learning a new language is only for the young, that your brain somehow cannot handle it anymore, that it's too late. You cannot learn language as quickly, as well as a young child. That's just wrong, and it's very limiting. In fact, learning or relearning languages in retirement might be one of the most powerful, the most overlooked, and the best way to keep your brain sharp, your emotions balanced, and your life full of purpose and connection. We'll talk about brain health and the science behind it, but stay with me to the end because I will also be sharing something personal, the 7 languages I've been working on myself in recent years, how I've revived the old ones, picked up new ones, and why this journey has been one of the most enriching parts of my life in my transition to retirement from medicine. Let's get started. What does science say? Because the evidence is very compelling. Neuroplasticity doesn't retire. Your brain is still plastic even in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. Learning a language rewires the brain. It improves and increases connection. Actually, it creates new connections and increases the gray matter density in areas related to memory and decision making. Memory and attention improve. Language learning forces you to remember, to compare, and retrieve. It's active. Recalling vocabulary and switching between 2 languages, 3 languages has been shown to strengthen working memory and sharpen focus. Number 3, the big one, slowing down dementia. Studies from journals like Neuropsychology show bilingual people experience dementia symptoms 4 to 6 years later than monolinguals. Even starting to learn a language in adulthood, in the later years of life, also builds cognitive reserve. It's giving the brain extra fuel and a buffer against decline. You'll become mentally more flexible. Learning new structures, patterns, and idioms, it's like taking your brain to the gym. So you strengthen your physical muscles, but you also strengthen your mental muscles. You're decoding, you're adapting, you're switching. And that trains flexibility, which is vital in aging and in retirement, of course, so that your brain does not just sleep. And this isn't just theory, it's measured by MRI scans, memory tests, reaction time, that people who engage in language learning show real improvement, even compared to other hobbies like golf. Now, this is the part that we don't talk enough about. The brain gets sharper, but there are also emotional and psychological rewards, and that's what keep people going in retirement in older age. It fights loneliness and isolation. Whether it's joining a language group, using a tutor app, or just chatting online, you are engaged, you are connected. Social interaction is protective against depression, especially in older age. Connecting with others from a different cultural and language background adds to the color and the vibrancy of older age. Learning gives you a reason to talk, reason to show up. You rebuild confidence. Many retirees feel a loss of identity, especially doctors. Who am I without my profession? Learning a language gives you a new goal, a skill, a reason to get out of bed, a way to grow, continue to grow. You stop saying, I'm too old. You start saying, I'm just getting started. It revives a sense of joy. When you revisit a language you once knew, say the language of your grandmother, the language of your grandfather, or what you learned in school, it stirs up memories. You rediscover a part of myself, just like myself, when I revived the languages that I spoke in childhood and picked up new ones. You may rediscover a part of yourself that was buried under decades of work and responsibility. You can connect with people of other cultures, of other countries, and with your roots, with where you came from, if where you came from spoke another language. You open doors to culture, as we have said, curiosity. Curiosity. You don't just learn grammar, you learn how another group of people see the world. And it's really refreshing. It's humbling for me, it's exciting for me, and it reminds me that the world is still full of color and discovery. Now, let me share something personal here, my 7-language journey. I'm a doctor, but outside medicine, language has been one of the biggest part of my life, especially as I transition into medical retirement. Over the past few years, I've revived my childhood Hakka language, which is the language that my ancestors spoke in China. I've brought back Bahasa Malaysia and some Indonesian. These are languages from my early environment at school back in Malaysia. And I have gravitated towards Indonesian because many of my friends in Australia are from Indonesia. I've maintained my Cantonese. That's the language that my mother and her family spoke. I continue to consolidate my conversational German and Spanish, and I'm constantly upgrading my Mandarin Chinese. And now I'm starting a new language from scratch, a new language with a new script. Oh, that's challenging when it's a new script. It is Arabic. It's a new journey. Why? Because it keeps me active, keeps me alive. When I rotate through languages, I stay sharp, I notice my memory improve, I feel the excitement of progress. Even on difficult days, there's a sense of movement, of becoming more, not less. And I haven't talked about the social connections that I've made with people of the different countries. For example, with German people who don't expect others to learn German because it's not a language that most people would learn. And obviously, with Spanish speaking friends, the whole of Latin America except Brazil speaks Spanish. And I want to tell you more about this. In my next video, I'll walk through exactly what benefits I've noticed, mentally, emotionally, socially. And practicing these languages, it's not a sales pitch, it's a miracle. It's just real, and it's really, really fulfilling. Let me leave you with some tips, whether you are starting from scratch or reviving an old language that you have learned in the past. Start small. 15 minutes a day is enough to get the momentum. There are apps, there are conversation groups online, and groups that you can meet up. And if you live in Australia, like me, you can find all types, you can find people from all over the world that speak all kinds of languages. There are podcasts, slow YouTube conversations in your target language that can do you wonders. You can use your walks, your commute, listen, shadow, mimic. This builds both vocabulary and rhythm. Don't just read. Don't just read. Speak, no matter how bad you might be in the beginning. And if you have retired, let me say this, it's not too late. In fact, this is the perfect time for you.